The first take. The last two coaching vacancies were filled this weekend. The Arizona Cardinals are going to hire Rams offensive coordinator Mike LaFleur as their next head coach. He replaces Jonathan Gannon and becomes Arizona's sixth straight head coach without any permanent NFL head coaching experience. Okay, then just across the desert, the Raiders are expected to hire the Seattle Seahawks offensive coordinator and Klint Kubiak as their next head coach. Of course, they cannot do that because Seattle is playing in the Super Bowl this weekend, so they have to wait until after it is completed. Vegas interviewed 15 different candidates, and with Kubiak winning the job, he becomes the franchise's fifth full-time coach since 2001. We started this whole situation a couple of weeks ago with 10 openings in the NFL. That is tied for the most in NFL history. To recap, in case you forgot, here we are. 6 of the 10 head coaches are first-time head coaches. Meanwhile, we got a couple Super Bowl winning head coaches in Mike McCarthy and John Harbaugh right here. Kevin Stefanski, 2-time Coach of the Year, of course. And then you look at Robert Saleh. Obviously worked his magic. He's now with Tennessee. Worked his magic with that San Francisco battered defense during this past season. So now as we look at these 10 filled spots in the NFL, which coach do we think is going to have immediate success, Peter?
I'm going to go with Jesse Minter in the Baltimore Ravens. I think that whole operation needed a fresh coat of paint. And Jesse Minter brings a young, vibrant, youthful feel to that Baltimore Ravens franchise. And with him comes a 29-year-old offensive coordinator, Declan Doyle, who comes from the Chicago Bears and has been watching and learning under Ben Johnson. Lamar Jackson, this is a window of the next 3 years, maybe a little bit more, but his peak athletic performance is going to be the next 3 years. They are trying to capitalize on that. They're going youth, they're going exuberance, and they are going with both Declan Doyle and Jesse Minter on a team that has a roster that can compete with anybody. Harbaugh's time came to an end. He's going to be with the Giants. That's fine. Jesse Minter brings a different feel and maybe a different connection with Lamar Jackson, the guy who I think can get them to where they have to go and still left in that window.
First of all, when I thought about the question, I'm thinking, how do we quantify success? You know, when you talk about Buffalo or the Baltimore Ravens, Super Bowl, like, do we think those guys are going to get them over the top? So for me, I'm going with John Harbaugh because I look at the New York Football Giants as a team that they have talent. They've been floundering. I don't know how many one-score games they've lost, and that is directly attributed to coaching. John Harbaugh will come in and whip those guys into form. That's what I think. I think his hard-nosed discipline, his structure is exactly what the Giants organization need. I'm a big believer in Jackson Dart. I think Jackson Dart with the right coach, it can be like this year's Drake May.
Are you concerned there's no offensive coordinator yet?
Yeah, well, I think that they'll get the right offensive coordinator because I still think the Giants' job is one of those prime jobs. They have a quarterback, but I think when they make their offensive hire, I think Jackson Dart again next year could be Drake May. I think he has that type of ability. They get Malik Neighbors back. They're going to add to it. I think the Giants are going to make a huge leap next year.
You good, S.A.?
Uh-oh.
So we're just going to ignore all those double-digit leads that Harbaugh lost, Damian Woody? And, oh, by the way, you say you have confidence that they're going to get the right offensive coordinator.
Yep, I do.
How confident were you in Todd Monken? Am I missing something? My God, what's wrong with you this morning?
There's nothing. Oh, there's nothing wrong with me.
At some of the stuff.
You are just
out of your mouth.
You are just trying to beef with me for whatever reason it is.
He didn't come in
hot. I don't know what his problem is with me. What did I do to you, Stephen A?
Listen, I'm just like, what the hell is going on with Damian Woody this morning? I cannot believe the stuff that is coming out of your mouth. My answer to this question is Joe Brady. And the reason why my answer to this is Joe Brady is that what were the Buffalo Bills beforehand? Over the last 6 years, 73-27, best record in football, top-rated offense, especially since he came on board a couple of years ago. From that period of time when he's been on board, November 15th, 2023 to be exact, the brothers' record is 31-10. They're second in the National Football League at 29.1 points per game. And he still has Josh Allen, and one would believe that Bean is going to do his job rather than point to the new head coach and talking about how that's a CEO position. Damn that, Bean. You're the CEO position, Mr. President. Not Coach Brady. It's you. It's you, Mr. Bean. You're the CEO, not him. A game ain't even been played yet. Training camp ain't even start, and he already trying to pass the damn ball. That's your job. That's your job. That's not Joe Brady's job. Joe Brady's job is the coach. You saw what I'm talking about, Peter. He gonna sit up there talk about the head coach position. It's a CEO position. It's not just about play calling. No, damn it, it's your job. Don't pass it off on the same day McDermott was fired. You were promoted. You weren't just retained. You were promoted. It's your job, not Joe Brady. Joe Brady's job is the coach, and we've seen no indication that he can't. We know he deserves this opportunity, and I think the Buffalo Bills are going to be right in the mix. It's almost a guarantee.
So basically, just judging off y'all, so the next step forward for Buffalo is the Super Bowl.
Ravens and Buffalo.
Okay, all right,
I tend to lean towards you, Woody. Like
AFC
Giants or Ravens, there's only one way to go, and that's up because they've been such a dumpster fire lately. Also, not for nothing, the Raiders not only have the #1 overall pick, they have a pick in every single round of the draft. They have Tom Brady helping lead the way a little.
And it appears have found their next head coach. Talk to me.
Yeah, this according to our Adam Schefter. Seahawks offensive coordinator Klint Kubiak looks like he will be the Raiders' next head coach. This move cannot be official by rule until next week after the Super Bowl has been played. But if you're a Raiders fan, you're going to get a chance to see your next head coach coaching on the sidelines in the Super Bowl on Sunday, because it looks like it will be Klint Kubiak, the Seahawks offensive coordinator.
And D. Wood, it does seem as though that takes the drama out of my next question and the next 3 months with the build-up to the NFL draft. If you were bringing in the coach whose specialty is developing the quarterback, right? He's the guy who was with Darnold this year, and he's one of that, right? He's from that tree, that same offense that all these guys run. Basically, all the same coaches who got hired in all the other jobs.
It's literally Gary Kubiak's son.
Gary Kubiak. Okay, fair enough. It's their offense. Is there any question does that solidify to you they're taking Fernando Mendoza?
Oh, absolutely. Literally, the whole Raiders organization was at the national championship game,
right,
just to watch Fernando Mendoza. And I think, they're not going to move off this pick. You got obviously Tom Brady being a minority owner, and obviously the greatest quarterback to ever play in the history of this game. This is like a lock for the Raiders to pick Fernando Mendoza as the #1 pick in the draft.
Feels that way, obviously, Neek. And I've been one of those who has been asking aloud, and this obviously suggests that they've made their mind up, and I probably wouldn't have the guts to do it if I were sitting in their shoes. But when you're a team with as many glaring needs as they have, I think I could be at least tempted to trade away the first pick in the draft and trying to stockpile and rebuild and hope that Fernando Mendoza is someday talked about the way we talk about Herschel Walker. It doesn't seem like that's the direction this thing is going, Neek, but it is something I think I might be at least a little tempted to do if I were them.
Right. Yeah, I think it's a reasonable and interesting strategy. The problem is you're going to need to get a quarterback at some point. And when are you ever going to be more well-positioned to get a quarterback, a young, talented quarterback, than when you're #1 overall? Hopefully you'll never be in this spot again. So I feel like I understand why you would use that pick for this, but it all depends on what you would get back. And I think what you would get back would not be enough. And we've seen that the way you can spend your money with the Patriots, if you get the quarterback, you can spend the money in the offseason, get a good coach, and turn that thing around. But what you can't coach around is having nobody at that position. So they're going to have to use one of those picks that they trade to eventually get a quarterback. So why not get him now?
And when they talked to coaching candidates, the conversation was about Mendoza. What do you think of Mendoza? You want to coach him? I think that's definitely the way they're going. And it's not just the talent and the tools. Kid's a winner, and this is an organization that needs a dose of that.
Yes, to me, my question is not based on questioning Mendoza. It's based on questioning whether the franchise is in a position to start building around a quarterback. That said, next stop on the